entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Welcome to the Pop Culture Onslaught on the Screen Time Continuum channel. How you guys doing today? I have to say I like that intro thing that we have there. It's just gets me every time, man. I be over here bobbing my head and dancing. But either way, my name is Keelan and I am here with Nick. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, happy Sunday. I'm well. How are you?
I am doing well. I mean, I actually did not realize it was Sunday. I have lost track of the days. I think the
Hmm.
last 2 weeks or so, I have not been aware of what day it is on any given day. However, I am doing well. I feel great. And I mean, shoot, if I could just play our instrumental just one more time in
Run
my
it
head,
back.
just run it
Yeah.
back for me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why. It got me really pumped, but it always does. So
Nice.
doing well. Doing well.
Good. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I try not to ask for much, so you're absolutely right on that. With that, here are some things that I think we were asked for a while ago. We're still talking about things, so hey, let's just get on into these things. Some things that Disney and Marvel were asked for years and years ago, and we're here now to put them in order and rank them. Today's pop culture onslaught is going to be a discussion and a ranking of Marvel's Cinematic Universe Phase One, which consists of 5 movies and begins in 2008, ending in 2012. I'm sure along the way, Nick and I have all kinds of little things we'll drop on you guys, interesting facts, maybe about the entire phase, about each movie, and just general opinions about why, and maybe answers about why. But either way, um, yeah, if you guys don't know what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, I don't really. I don't feel sorry for you, and I don't think we have any spoilers to give you. However, we will tell you what it is. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is simply Marvel comics, really, powered by Disney, turned into a movie and thrown up on a screen for about 3 hours each film. And by the end of those films, you're supposed to get some information that leads you into the next film. You put a couple of those films together and you get a phase. So, yes, that is what we're talking about. The first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you were into comic books, I'm sure there'll be some interesting things in here for you. If you're not and you're just into the movies, you probably only care about the rankings. And in that case, hang around the live until we get to that. I don't really know what else to tell you guys. But the people who want to get into the weeds with us, uh, we gonna have some comments. Nick,
Hmm.
how do you feel about the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase One overall in its totality? I guess we could even start with just hot and cold words, so to speak,
Mm.
about phase one, likes, dislikes.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Phase One was bigger when I looked through it. I was like, oh, this is going to be more movies, but then I realized it's only 5 or 6 or something like that. So, going to be a lot less to speak on for this episode, but we'll be doing Phase Two through 5 or whatever as we go on. Um, we're going to pepper that into our episodes in between reviews and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it's okay. There's a couple of decent movies here that I think are fun. But I mean, it's hard because it's the establishment of the franchise, it's establishment of the universe, but then we also know what comes after it. Um, and so it's hard to I don't know. I don't know if you could hold any one of these 5 movies up as like the best, but there's at least one or two in here that should be in the top 3 or 5, I would
Fair,
say.
fair. Yeah, for me, I'm looking at phase one from the aspect of I remember what it was like when we didn't know there were phases.
Hmm.
When it was just we were getting a flurry of Marvel movies. I mean, in reality, I don't think the phases were even announced until about phase three. We didn't really know that it was broken down that way. So for me, I'm literally looking at I trying to remember the reception, trying to remember my first time seeing these films. Like how much did I care when it came to the trailers? Like I thought Ant-Man was in phase one. That like I did. So I understand when thinking it was larger, but realizing how small it is and how far back it dates, nobody really was watching the MCU until 2012, which is the end of phase one.
Yeah, I think this is you could definitely rank this as like sort of the prior to the knowing that there were going to be phases, like you said.
Mhm.
I think that this is one of the first phase is definitely one where they didn't know that there was going to be this overarching theme going on. I think they had a feeling, but like beyond the Avengers, which is the last one,
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like maybe that's the movie when they finally realized, oh, we're gonna have something overarching here.
I think that's a really good point. They were very hesitant. We've heard the stories time and time again at this point. I mean, what are we almost 20 years in, right? Um, we've heard the stories time and time again that they didn't know or think that this was going to become what it became. So no, I think you're absolutely right. And that's even probably a probability that there were not phases. That it didn't exist until we heard about it. So that's actually a really good point out there. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. I saw a couple of videos. I want to say Wicked Binge did a kill count. So I have the kill count from them, word to them, the Wicked Binge channel. Um, and I saw a lot of other channels have just breakdowns of what the movies are about, but we're doing a ranking of those movies, and I didn't really see anybody put them into ranks. With that, I think we can give all five movies up front and then just kind of go movie by movie, what they were about, what they did, et cetera, and get into a ranking. Um, I also want to ask Nick, what were your favorite and least favorite of the five films?
Oh yeah. Why don't you give out the
I forget
five
what.
films first, and then we
Right,
can
right, right.
talk about? Yeah. Oh, I mean, I guess favorite would be tough because then you're gonna know where my power ranking is gonna be.
Ah,
So
okay. So we'll wait. We'll
yeah,
wait on that. We'll wait
we'll
on
wait.
that.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think my favorite. Actually, I know my favorite and my number one of the power ranking aren't the same.
Oh, okay,
So,
gotcha.
so for me, it's like no, I wouldn't be burying any leads here. So yeah, let's just get into what movies we're talking about. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe began in 2008. In 2008, there were two films that they came out with: Iron Man and The Incredible Hulk. In 2010, they followed up with Iron Man 2. 2011, they put out two more films, which was the first Thor film and the first Captain America, entitled Captain America: The First Avenger. And then in 2012, we get the first Avenger film and an introduction that really, again, for me, is when everything about the MCU really became interesting and people started paying attention. Um, within that, what's that? 4 year span. Wow. Within that 4 year span in these five films, according to the Wicked Binge channel, we'll go ahead and get that out the way. There was a 656 kill count. I thought that was actually pretty intense considering we haven't gotten to any of the battles and the wars. We just had some and also all the characters haven't been introduced yet either by the end of this.
Well, I think probably 70% of that kill count are the Chitauri in Avengers.
No.
No.
So the way they broke it down was actually very interesting. I'd say actually it's about a 30-minute video. But I would say go ahead and check that out, guys, over on the Wicked Binge channel. But the way they broke it down is they gave a disclaimer at the front. So anyone that they couldn't see or didn't get a count for, so like if you're in a vehicle, airplane, something like that, they're not counting those kills. They're not counting droid kills because those aren't human kills. Anything that can be programmed. Um, a lot of the Chitari they didn't count simply because it's just random explosions. You're not seeing some actual being be murdered or
Mm.
die. So most of their kills are people you actually saw get killed in the even so let's example go back to Iron Man 1 when Tony is in the Humvee, and this is actually at the really beginning of their video too, but Tony's sitting in the Humvee and you see the military personnel that are jumping out to protect him, you see them getting taken out, and
Mhm.
you see them being hit by bullets and they're off the screen. Those count. But when you have like the planes leaving like a carrier and then that explodes, you didn't see anybody get in, all you saw was the plane explode, that doesn't count.
All right.
So yeah. Again,
Mhm.
I thought it was interesting. I thought the number would have been like in the thousands, and I think had they counted all of the non-certains, we probably would have been in the thousands. But I thought it set a really good standard for. There's a concept that when you have like these high action films, because it's comics and stuff, you still don't see death. I think that right there blows it out of the water. And that's just phase one. So we could only imagine when you get down to like the Avengers Part 2 alone, or Endgame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you just take out half of the universe and you're good.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
So yeah. Um so let's jump back to 2008. I really just wanted to get that kill count. I thought it was an interesting thing. And look, it even got both of us thinking, like, how do you break down a kill count? Because I'm not even sure if I agree with the full way they broke down the kill count. That's
Mhm.
just, I didn't do it. I know you didn't do it. We don't have those numbers. Those are the numbers they presented. Um, but even thinking about it in the way that we think about it, I personally wonder when it comes to those explosive kills, and we can't count the exact amount of people that were in it. Like, can we give a marginal number? Is there a law of averages that can kick in there, right? um or even just give a base number of one, because there had to be somebody manning that you know but all of those kind of things can change what those numbers are and give a deeper discussion behind kill counts. So again, 2008. Let's jump back to the first Iron Man movie. Let's see. What do we remember about the first Iron Man movie? I remember, of course, this is our introduction to Iron Man. Um,
What's in the ACDC song? Like
I think
the,
there's always an AC/DC song when it comes to Iron Man movie. No.
I think so, maybe. Yeah. Obviously, him showing off the tech in the desert with the explosions in the background.
Yeah.
That's a pretty iconic shot.
Yeah. What was he
I mean,
supposed to be building the Jericho missile when he built the first mech suit?
right? Yeah. Him getting captured. The whole cave scene is it's that's a
Iconic.
pretty good origin story. That's to be honest, that's an origin story that I don't mind watching over again.
Right.
Although like there's a lot that I just don't like watching. That one's pretty decent. I think that it doesn't.
I
For
think it's
some
hard to
reason,
mess it up.
it just doesn't wear on me like having to watch Batman's origin story over again or Spider-Man's over again.
Those are
So,
so hard. And let's call it what it is. The tragedy of loss is what it is. But
mm,
you can't give me that story in a way that doesn't make me sad.
right.
And they try to give you that story in different Spider-Man and Batman story in ways that don't make you sad in various ways, and it never works except for the way that it's meant to be. It's supposed to break your heart and then show you like that's why they're so tough.
Hmm.
Um but the Iron Man story, the Superman story, the Wonder Woman story, um all of them come from places where it's like, nah, I didn't necessarily even have to do what I'm doing. This is what I chose to do.
Right.
Those stories, yeah, I could watch them over and over again. I think Superman, I know crossing genres, I do it all the time. Or crossing universes, I do it all the time. But Superman is a perfect example of that to me, because whether you're doing Red Sun, or he was the Superman just born here to Earth and then he developed powers, which there are a couple of versions of that. Um Hell, Bizarro. Like it's interesting either way.
Hmm.
Uh So yeah, and when it comes to Tony in the cave, whether it's Tony in the cave or I think there's a version where um he is in the cave, but it's like he agrees and for a minute he actually works with the bad guys or something like that. But either way, it kind of falls that same line of like, nah, he was going through some things, found out that his company wasn't doing some things, and then he had to, or excuse me, wasn't doing what he thought they were doing, supplying the wrong people, and all of that stays pretty consistent.
And got blown up by his own tech.
Yep,
Hmm.
yep, and that happens every time. No matter, even in the alternate universes we've seen, he every single time it's his tech that causes his health issues.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, no, it's a great movie. Jeff Bridges is the bad guy. What's his name?
Obadiah Stane.
Obadiah. Thank you. Yeah, I knew it was one of those like old timey names.
Yeah, Obadiah.
Obadiah. Yeah, I liked his little. He had that like hypersonic remote controller that could
Yeah,
paralyze you.
yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Well, because so what I liked about Obadiah was, and I'm glad that they ended up in two. They showed you that Obadiah Stone or Stain wasn't the same as a Justin Hammer.
Hmm.
Um, I appreciated the Stain character versus the Hammer character, which we'll get to him in a minute. But I appreciated the Stain character or the Obadiah character simply because he was the guy who was there with Tony's dad, so he was technically smarter and ahead of Tony in these things. The difference was he didn't have the natural ingenuity, which is what his father also had over Obadiah.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
interesting. You usually get some dry cut villains when it comes to Marvel. They're straight. They well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I can't even say that in the later phases, but in the early phases, um Obadiah gave us a real enemy, like a real villain. He wasn't this guy trying to play both sides.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I don't. Is this where the I think this might be the first instance of the trope for the comic book movies is where the villain is just the sort of bad or the good guy, but bigger or evil. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah, I
like
get what
Obadiah is is in an Iron Man suit, but it's like a juggernaut
you
Iron
mean.
Man suit.
Yep.
I feel like comic book movies do that a lot, where the villain is just like the bad or the good guy, but just evil.
Yeah. I
Has
mean,
the same powers
yeah,
and
essentially.
advantages and all that. Yeah,
Yeah. Iron Man 1 and 2 follow that exact line.
yeah.
Yeah. Um but yeah, so in Iron Man 1, yeah, so we get the suit. We get Tony becoming Tony. Um Essentially we find, we get Pepper joining True and she does her part. She actually is the one who kills Obadiah if I remember that correctly.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think she kills Obadiah. And then we get the Avengers offer, which I think is the real staple from the first Iron Man movie. That's the real takeaway.
Hmm.
You know who Tony Stark is before you watch the movie. You really just want to see how they're going to play that out. You find out that Pepper is going to be more of a member when it comes to things, which I think even now in the phases we're currently in, we expected to see a little more Pepper by now, but whatever. But we get the. I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh no, I was just thinking in my head it could be because of who plays Pepper.
Yeah,
So
it could be that
could be.
contractual obligations.
Or just personality issues, differences.
Well,
Mm.
um, damn, I actually understand. What else did we get? We got
Iron Man is,
oh,
unlike Batman and Spider Man, Iron Man is very comfortable with it, letting everybody know that he is
who he
Iron Man.
is. Right, he lets exact. That's the part I'm forgetting.
Hmm.
In the first one, he jumps up there. No, I'm Iron Man. What? What? Like, bro, you're an idiot, is what you are.
But that's Tony Stark. He
Yeah.
doesn't want anybody taking credit for what he's doing. Come on. Yeah.
Except for when it was destroying and killing people.
Well, yeah, that's different.
Just saying. We meet Sam Jackson's character is,
Nick Fury.
geez, I feel so terrible right now. Nick Fury, thank you. Um, we meet Nick Fury, and then we hear the Avengers Initiative offer, which Tony initially declines. Initially, but when we get to number two, we'll explain to you why he can't decline that for too long. And
Hmm.
why would you hide that kind of tech? Anyway, number two, we'll get there. Um, so yeah, so there you have Iron Man number one. That's a 2008 film. The next 2008 film is The Incredible Hulk. Um, mm, mm.
Man. Honestly, if you asked me to name any scene in this movie, I don't think I could.
I could because I watched this movie a few times actually. The Abomination was my favorite part of this entire movie.
Right.
Because once again, for the second time, and this was so early into the MCU, it wasn't even called the MCU yet, I don't think. But we had nothing but villains in on TV and in movies and stuff at the time. Like we had real villains. But the Abomination was kind of just like you just explained, Obadiah, the same as the
Hmm.
hero, but a little more.
Right.
Little more sinister, and it made you realize. I like the Abomination because the Abomination made you realize that what the serum did to Bruce just made Bruce like the Hulk is Bruce's heart,
Hmm.
right? Bruce is actually compassionate person. He's a really emotional person. He's really forthcoming, but not in a strong way. Like he's a brain, but the Abomination is a muscle.
Hmm.
And I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who plays the Abomination, or the guy who turns himself into the Abomination, he's a soldier. He's a muscle, and you see the Abomination manifested, and that is exactly what you get. He's a fucking muscle. He's a exoskeleton. He's a walking exoskeleton with the strength of the Hulk.
Hmm.
But then again, to the point of the Hulk being the heart, or being or Bruce's heart, every time you piss off the Hulk, what happens? He gets bigger. That didn't happen to the Abomination. The Abomination has to absorb energy, he has to steal. So I actually learned a lot from the Incredible Hulk movies in general, just from the science base of it. I don't think any of that was intended for you to learn from it, but the base of the characters is the base of the characters. When you give them the things that they were naturally born with, or written with, created with, it's kind of hard not to put certain things out there. But now that I'm getting out of fantasy world, back to the actual movie, The Incredible Hulk, because it talked about none of that. There were no esoteric or eccentric moments in the movie.
Mm-mm.
So
Edward
everything I just
Norton.
talked about, you're not going to watch that movie and see. You'd have to be in my head at the time. Um, and I was, what, first 2 years of university. Yeah,
Edward Norton, right?
yeah, it was
Is that
Edward
who
Norton.
that is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie was not good. I don't know why they can't make a good Hulk movie. Um, I feel like they should be able to, but maybe it's just because you can't be brutal enough with the Hulk.
Uh, I think that's mostly what it is. I mean, Tim Roth plays a really good bad guy, like, as far as being the angry at you, I don't, Bruce is a wimp type of a guy, like to show that so much. I think they
Hmm.
had the right actors. Dare I say the direction might not have been there.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, it just feels like it's always a hard sell to do the Hulk, um, unless you piggyback him off with other characters,
Yeah,
which we find out about in later phases.
right. Which
Um,
Thor is the same way. I did leave
yes.
out something from talking about Iron Man, which is how much Iron Man brung in the first Iron Man movie. The first
Hmm.
Iron Man movie grossed $318.4 million, and the Incredible Hulk film, also in 2008, grossed $134.52 million. So, with both of these movies, they still didn't hit a half a billion.
Inflation.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure inflation is already factored into these.
we might be able to measure inflation by Marvel's box offices over the years.
Ooh, that's a really good point.
It might be able to.
Might be. Yeah, considering. Maybe not. Iron Man just did really well, if you ask me, compared to the other ones off the bat. In
Yeah.
my opinion, Iron Man is Marvel's Superman.
Yeah, phase one actually, compared to the other phases, is a very underperforming phase financially.
Yeah. Oh, for
Um,
sure. Without question. Without question. So yeah, what else? Incredible Hulk. So we're really introduced. That's actually the first time we're introduced to Super Soldier Trials, and the Abomination. Everything else is pretty much rudimentary. There's nothing interesting about the Incredible Hulk movie.
mm-mm.
Um, I don't even remember. Do we get Betty in that one with Edward Norton, or is that the
I
other
know.
one?
I think that's the Ang Lee one with
Yeah.
Tyler. Liv Tyler. Yeah.
No, Liv Tyler's in this one.
She in the Edward Norton one? I thought she
Yeah.
was in the Eric Bana one.
No, she's in this one. I thought
Shit.
she was in Eric Bana. You know what? Shit, she might be into both.
No, I don't think they would
I
put
don't
her in
think she's in both.
both.
But it's probable. It's not. I don't think it goes without probability
Mm.
that she could be in both.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
That's just,
yeah, she's
it's
in this
just.
one though for sure.
I think it's just a curse. I think it's just the Incredible Hulk is kind of cursed, and you know,
Same with
uh,
the Venom movies.
yeah, yeah. I think probably yes. They're great characters, but they just can't be by themselves. You
Yeah,
know,
I think Wolverine falls into that too. Some characters are
that's all.
really really good, but
Yeah.
you put them by themselves and you lose all of the things that make them good. It's We all like music. There's some artists who you think are really good as features, and then you go and listen to their solo stuff, and you're like, nah, this ain't it.
Which one was the one where Wolverine goes to Japan? X-Men. It's not Origins Wolverine.
That's not
It's
Origins. No, that's the one. Ooh, I forget. That's not First Class either. I forget
could be
which.
the Wolverine.
Is it the Wolverine?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Wolverine.
I think
Yeah.
that is because that's the one that the cartoon was spun off of, right?
Yeah, I think so. They totally botched that. I don't understand why you wouldn't have like samurai-esque Logan. They tried to do it, but it was so modern that I didn't feel like it worked.
Yeah, that is the Wolverine in 2013 movie. Wow, so that
Mm,
basically was right after all of this.
yeah.
Not a part of the MCU
No,
phases.
no, no, it's not.
And you know what? Let's call that what it is too. The best thing that they've done with the Wolverine is keep Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
You know,
Hmm.
um, and where they botched that particular movie, in my opinion, not just not giving you Samurai Logan, give the full story of him and Lady Deathstrike and all of that.
Hmm.
That's his wife. Her husband is the scientist that experimented on him. Like, give all of that background. Give the fact that they had a daughter that died. Then at the end, give X-23's background, and you'll actually understand why he's so twisted in the head without knowing all of the things going on in his head.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
It's not hard.
And maybe we just read too many comic books as kids, but
Maybe.
it's not hard.
Hmm.
Oh man. So yeah, that is really we're still at the Incredible Hulk. So let's jump on into Iron Man 2 2010. In Iron Man 2, we well, I mean it's still Tony. We're introduced to War Machine, Whiplash, Ivan Bongo?
Hmm. Scarlet
Yeah.
Scarlet Widow? Black Widow? Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Black Widow. Yeah.
Black Widow. I wish I could remember her intern name right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
he would not stop hitting on her until she almost broke Happy's arm.
I
Um,
mean, geez, Louise, dude. Disney. I mean, this wasn't Disney back then, so that actually makes a lot more
yeah,
sense.
it wasn't
Because
Disney back.
they definitely toned her down in the subsequent movies.
Toned her down, but they also turned down his misogyny.
Yes, yes, they did. Yeah.
They turned down a lot of people's energy.
Yeah, I feel like the first couple movies, everybody was like, "Yeah, let's be a little bit irreverent," and then they realized how much money they were making. They were like, "Oh
Yeah,
no,
we got to clean
oh
this up.
no, yeah, we got
Got to clean this
we got to straighten up our act."
right.
People are paying
Straighten up.
attention to
Right,
this.
exactly. That's look.
Mhm.
Somebody just walked done to work one day and started playing that on a PA. Straighten up and fly right.
Mhm.
Hey, straighten up.
Yep.
Hey, I get the message. Let's see, Iron Man 2. So yeah, Ivan Bongo is the son of another one of Tony's dad's name is Howard. Another
Mm.
one of Howard's cohorts that he just kind of cast to the side and left with nothing.
He's kind of
Ivan.
like the Edward Nigma
Ooh,
of the uh, of the Iron Man universe, right? Because Edward Nigma used to work for the Wayne family, and he
yeah.
was like a scientist, and then he gets fired. And the same thing with
In
Ivan.
a sense. Well, I think the only disconnect with Nigma is we know that he worked for them, but we don't know anything that he contributed to that Batman currently uses.
True.
Um, with Ivan, we know that his father is the reason the arc reactor was even created. Like he's the
Hmm.
one who figured out how to maintain or harness the power, or what was it? Not how to harness it, because
I
Howard
think he
figured
did the
out.
math for it.
Yeah, I think he just
Yeah.
did the math to actually make it work.
Hmm.
The housing of it all. Um, yeah,
It was kind of. I mean,
basically,
Whiplash is kind of a cool character. It's
I thought it was dope.
ridiculous that he has his shirt off, but you know.
Well, I think so the him having his shirt off part I didn't get at first. Then I recently saw this movie, say about 5 months ago. I saw it. I was yeah, I saw it on cable. In fact, it was on. But I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why is his shirt off again? Like that didn't make sense. And then I play it through, he has on the gear of the guys in the pit and whatnot, or the people who work the track. And he takes that off because it's gonna burn up when he turns
Right.
on his machine.
Yeah,
So the
I
one
thought
little
of
shirt,
that as soon as you started explaining. I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It
right?
makes
It's
sense."
like it's
Yeah.
he just didn't want to burn all of the plastic up. So then the little, what we call that, a beater, a shirt. The
Hmm.
t-shirt he had left, that's just cotton. So leave that on and turn on your machine. It's gonna burn up. Now I am with you because I did not think that through until I saw that movie again within the last year.
Hmm.
Is when I actually had that process go through. Before I was like, yeah, I never understood what I do with shirtless.
I
But then I
need
got
my
older.
bird.
The heat. I need my birth. All right, look. All I'm saying is Disney got to stop with some of these.
This is pre-Disney.
Right.
Yeah,
Matter of fact,
yeah.
let me see. This was, what?
I feel like the Avengers was the first Disney one.
I'm trying to
If
see who
or
was
maybe
that.
Thor was.
What house was that? It's Marvel Studios, Marvel Comics. Maybe, yeah, it's just Marvel Studios back then.
Hmm.
I think they were owned by Disney though.
I don't think so. I don't remember when the acquisition was, but
Because it was already Kevin Feige and John Favreau. They were both on this.
well, they got onboarded by Disney because they were the first
You're
ones
right.
to
No, you're
do
right. I
that.
got it.
Yeah,
It's Paramount.
Paramount, right?
It's Paramount. Look, I mean, look, dang. Like, I mean, it looked like it was Disney. It even originally released, the first release was at El Capitan. Like
Mm.
everything about this, even down to Kevin Feige and John Favreau, make you think that it was Disney.
Maybe they were sort of schmoozing Disney with that, you know,
Perhaps.
trying to
This
be
might
like,
look, yeah.
hey, this could be yours. This could be
And
yours.
everybody on the bill from then, with the exception of Don Cheadle, man, why y'all do my boy? Um,
You
got
mean
a Disney.
Terrence Howard?
Oh, Terrence Howard for
Yeah.
sure, but he wasn't in Iron Man 2, was he? He
Oh no, he was only in
was
Iron
only
Man
in
1.
one.
Next
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
baby.
yeah, yeah. Now that's, yeah,
Famous
because it's
last
Don
words.
Cheadle. No, you're right. So Don Cheadle did get a contract. You're right. I'm
Yes, he did.
sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody except for Terrence Howard got a contract.
Mhm.
But everybody from 2 got a contract with Disney. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to talk about with 2 though.
No,
Everybody
pretty
was,
straightforward. You get a
yeah.
little bit more of the Avengers teases.
Oh, right, the Avengers teaser. So we get to number 2, and then we start to find out when we meet at the end again. We get back to Nick Fury. We find out that the Scarlet, or the Black Widow, has been working as an intern at Stark Tech this whole time to keep her eye on Tony and make sure that he's not a threat. And now they're offering him a chance to save his life because they have scroll tech, or alien tech in general, because Lord knows where they got it from. But they are not Hydra.
I mean, they might be Hydra at the end of all
They
of this.
might be Hydra at the end of all this. We have to.
Yeah.
That's like phase 5.
Yeah.
Um, what are they called? Shield.
Hmm? Shield. Yeah.
Shield has all of the technology. We have the technology to make you stronger, faster. And I'm like, they have the technology to stop the shrapnel from getting to Tony's heart and help him stay alive. Which to me, it's interesting. If you have the technology to slow it down or to heal him, why didn't they heal him?
And what technology could you have that Tony Stark wouldn't?
I think them merging him with
Alien.
whatever, yeah, the alien tech.
Yeah.
No matter where they get it from, I think this is the beginning of him becoming a super brain.
Right.
The nanites that they put, or whatever it is they put in him, then he
True.
creates the nanites that gets
Hmm.
into him, and then when he goes to the other dimension with, which I
They
wonder
are
if how they're
Hydra.
going to do this. They are Hydra. You're right.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. He has to meet with what's the other super smart guy from the Fantastic Four? Not
Oh.
Franklin. Franklin's daddy.
Oh. Reed Richards.
Reed Richards. I want to say it's Reed
Hmm.
Richards that assists Tony, and then that's when Tony becomes a super brain.
Mm.
Maybe it's Franklin. Who knows? But I know at some point. But my point is back to Iron Man 2 because I'm going off on a tangent. My point is in Iron Man 2, when they offer him the ability to heal and not to cure, I think this is the beginning of Tony becoming a super brain. And it is the first sign we should have to what you just hinted at, that maybe, just maybe, these are not the people we think they are. Nick Fury might not be human anymore, but we don't really start thinking about that until somewhere in phase 2, phase 3.
Yeah, it's also kind of a tease towards Ultron as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because that doesn't happen until phase 2 as well.
Hmm.
And we, also we start to see that Tony's a little crazy, but nobody's there to keep him in check. He ain't got no best friend yet. We'll get there in about a year.
Give it a year.
Give it a year, he'll have a friend. So, Iron Man 2, wrap that up. Oh, and the Iron Fleet. Just have to bring that up. We get the Iron Fleet at the end.
Hmm.
Um, that's only important because we know time and time again that Iron Fleet will be taken over, and that leans towards Ultron. 2011, we get the Thor movie, which take it back. Take it
Yeah.
back. That
Thor has not had a great run.
No. Thor has, I
Yeah.
think, one good movie, and it's not the first or the most recent. I think it's literally the second Thor movie was good,
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. And there's 5, I think, now, or 4 Thor. I think there's about
It's
to be a
4.
5th. There's 4.
Hmm.
1 of 4 is good. I say make him a Guardian of the Galaxy.
Honestly, that might be better.
Shit,
That
all
might be
3 of their
better.
movies are good, and the third one ain't even out yet.
True. True. And they
So
tried to see, the thing is they tried in Love and Thunder, they tried to plug in the Guardians of the
they did.
Galaxy and that didn't work. So,
But it's because of the way they did that. They tried to plug in the Guardians of the Galaxy after they had already tried to do the same thing with the Hulk um in Ragnarok, and it
mm,
barely worked in that.
yeah, true.
Actually, no, it didn't. No, it didn't work. Ragnarok was good for different reasons, and it had nothing to do with the Hulk.
Yeah, it kind of destroys Planet Hulk,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it makes you not right. That's it. It makes you
Yeah.
not want to see the Planet Hulk movie.
Well, I mean,
It
it's just kind of you
crazy.
don't get to see it because you've already used that. Like you've used enough of it to not be able to actually make a real Planet Hulk movie.
Right. Like even if
Yeah.
they were to make it like, oh, what happened before this? Nobody cares now.
No, it's already done.
Make
Yeah.
a Scar movie. Maybe I'll care again.
There you go.
So let's see. Thor is no longer worthy is the whole point of this movie. So we meet Thor. He's a brash dickhead. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry kids.
With blonde
Meet Thor,
eyebrows.
right? He's a meanie, big meanie. He's just a jerk. He doesn't deserve any of his power or his status, and he doesn't realize it yet until he is banished back to Midgard, aka Earth, by his father. And that's when he finds out that he is no longer worthy. He has to look for Mjolnir. When he finds Mjolnir, the military base with a bunch of humans, he also meets Jane. He can't pick it up. Same time, Loki, his half brother, finds out that he is a frost giant that's been stolen from the land of the frost giants, and his father was killed by none other than the dude who's raising him. Bruh. That's it.
That's some real Theon Greyjoy shit right there.
Man, Theon Greyjoy couldn't hold a torch to what Loki was going through, though. Like,
Yeah,
Theon's daddy was still alive, and he just
true,
didn't come for him,
true.
which should have pissed Theon off more. But we could have that in the Game of Thrones discussion one day. Because
Is it? But I don't. So wait. So Freya got it on with an ice giant.
wait, is it? You know what? Why that just threw me off? Yes, to answer your question,
Mm.
why that just threw me off is because wasn't uh Theon's sister's name Freya?
Yara.
Yara. Ah, okay, close though.
Yeah, close.
I was really like, wait, I thought we were getting off of Game of Thrones. Why are we still doing this?
Right.
But I knew who you were talking about as well. Yeah, essentially. But so I'm guessing the frost giant could take human form or something, because why is Loki not an ice giant?
That's a good question. He should be gigantic and blue. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks more human than Thor, in fact.
Yeah, I guess it's because he's supposed to be sort of the god of illusion.
Mischief.
So maybe
Oh,
he's subconsciously like casting an illusion spell on himself to make himself fit in with everybody. I don't know.
wow. Okay, maybe
That's a stretch, but
that's a huge
yeah.
stretch, but I
Hmm.
understand where it came from. Um, yeah, Thor meets Jane. Loki's a frost giant. Oh, Loki releases the Destroyer. Asshat. Like, I didn't like Loki from the first Thor movie,
Yeah,
but he
me
was probably
neither.
the best part of the first Thor movie.
Yeah, I don't. Loki wears thin on my nerves, anyways, because I just don't understand how he's at all capable. It just, I mean, like he can create illusions and phase.
Oh yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
apparently he's really good at combat as well.
That's true. He's not bad at fighting. That's fair. That's
Hand to
fair.
hand is his deal, which is why
Hmm.
mischief and illusions that makes sense to me, because he's a
Yeah.
close combat fighter. Um, and you know, as we see, he has a thing for power. He's a power seeker.
Hmm.
But
Right.
either
We'll
way,
find that out later. Yeah.
no, yes, we will. But either way, so the most important things that happen in this is Thor meets Jane, so then you find out who she is and why she's important later, but not now.
And then
The
you don't see her
Destroyer,
for 10
don't
years.
see her for 10 years. 10 years and 7 movies.
Yeah.
Um, the Destroyer I thought was important because it showed exactly how powerful the Thor and different characters can become over time. Once they understand their power and embrace
Hmm.
themselves. And once again, Thor is worthy, but although Thor is worthy, Loki is so powerful he now controls the Bifrost, and he's using it as a weapon. This is one of those, and this is why I say Loki was my favorite character of the first Thor movie. We have to think to ourselves, like you said a minute ago, his power is supposed to be illusion. Where does the rest of this come from? That's just will. That's just
Yeah.
him trying,
Yeah.
right? At the end
It's
of the day, that
cunning.
damn near, yeah, his
Yeah.
cunning. It almost makes him the strongest person in the entire MCU because everybody else relies on these gifts that they have. Whereas
Well,
for
the
Loki,
the Hulk and Thanos want a word.
okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
But let's be real. There's a point where he fools Thanos,
Hmm.
and there's a point where even Thor, I mean, even the Hulk is like, all right, I gotta kill this dude before he get me.
That's fair. Yeah. No, it's all good. Where was Heimdall? Was he locked up
He
at
was,
that
yeah,
point?
he had Loki had imprisoned him somehow, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because he
Yeah,
comes back in the second movie.
yeah. Loki
Hmm.
had done something to him. I just can't remember what. So then we jump forward 2011 still, and we meet the first Avenger, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America. The super soldier serum works. We see the first super soldier is born. We meet Steve Rogers. We meet Captain America. We meet and lose Bucky Barnes. The Red Skull's a jerk. Um, the shield is given to Cap by Howard. Still thinking, why is Howard like so revered and powerful? Because, oh well, no, by this time the super soldier serum does work. But they don't give Howard that credit. They give that to the German guy.
Right. Did Howard go to Africa to get that vibranium?
No, come on, stop it.
I don't know. Where did he get it from?
Come on, stop it.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not even gonna speculate. I'm just gonna stop it.
Oh, it was an X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's where we see.
Actually, yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
They were retrieving the they were sent on a mission to go retrieve the what the hell
Oh
is it
damn,
called?
Howard was there, wasn't he?
Vibranium. Yeah.
Yeah, Howard was there. He's actually the one who extracted it. So how'd you chip off the rock, Howard?
It's a good question.
I'm assuming they found vibranium laying somewhere else.
Probably.
But it doesn't make sense. But by the end of all of this, he gets the shield, he defeats the Red Skull, he loses his best friend and all that. But we find out that Captain America committed sacrifice. And for 70 years, he's frozen in the middle or the bottom of the Arctic, which, once again, waited 2 hours just to see this dude get frozen.
Yeah, that was a choice. That was a choice. I guess they had to get him to the current year, right?
Yeah. I mean, rather him be frozen than be left alive, he would have turned into Soldier Boy.
True, and I guess he would have aged too, right?
Yeah, I guess so, but that part still doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either, because at the end of Endgame, he's all old. But he didn't take the serum?
At the end of the Endgame, right? He goes back and he doesn't take the serum.
Okay.
Exactly. That's why.
I thought he just went back to go be with Peggy. I just thought he went back to go be with Peggy.
He went back to be Steve with Peggy. Peggy couldn't be with Captain America because Captain America had to go and fight a war.
Fair enough, but okay. Well, then there's a paradox there because he gives the shield to Falcon.
Yeah, I think that's what gives all of the fuel to that whole what if scenario.
Yeah, for sure.
Where she's carrying him across the threshold.
Oh, bro. All right.
Is he though? Is he? So yeah, that's Captain America: First Avenger. Anything else you want to add about that one before we?
It's a pretty simple movie.
I think so as well. And then we get the Avengers, which again to me is when all of the lights kind of came on. You know, they were building a foundation with Iron Man. They put up some walls with the Incredible Hulk, put in the plumbing with Iron Man 2, made sure the roof was secure with Thor. Captain America came through and all the inspections were solid. And then when Avengers came, you were able to turn on the lights. Like I broke that down. Yep. So in the Avengers, we get Loki being Loki. This is the strongest actually we ever see Loki for the entire all the series altogether, all the phases, excuse me. He steals the Tesseract. And I'm still wondering how, but he steals the Tesseract.
Is the Tesseract the Space Stone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the Tesseract always weirded me out because it has so many different qualities. It's like the Power Stone and the Mind Stone, but it's the Space Stone.
It's the Space Stone, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Which essentially just makes it illusions. It's literally just enhances what Loki does, which is why it was so powerful in Loki's hands. Because he was already a powerful illusionist. So I think that was the thing. Like, that's what made his illusions actually real by this point, was the Tesseract.
Yeah, there's a little bit of iffy-wiffy going on in that because, yeah, again, it does operate a lot like a Mind Stone would when he pokes people and enthralls them. I don't know why a Space Stone would do that. Space Stone is just like teleportation.
I would think so.
Yeah.
You're able to take up space and move, but he was able to move space and time and control space and time.
I didn't know because there's the Time Stone for the time.
Yep.
And then there's the Space Stone. So Space Stone is just
not in Avengers. Not in Avengers. Yeah. Whoa. Sorry. Whoa.
Yeah.
TVA.
TVA. That stupid show. The Tesseract was always very strange to me because it doesn't really exhibit. I mean, it exhibits way more than just being a teleportation device.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's a murder device too. He kills Agent Coulson.
Yeah, it can do whatever you want it to do, I guess.
Now, I'm guessing this is when Coulson becomes an android.
Well, this gets resolved in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, damn it. Sorry.
Agents of
Sorry,
Shield
guys.
resolves that. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. There I go. Here I go again. Jumping ahead 20 years. so, but yeah, so he kills Agent Coulson. The Avengers officially assemble because of Loki. Everybody's kind of going through their different things, and Shield's trying to recruit everybody, and nobody's really down for it. But once the Tesseract's gone, everybody first they're all working individually to do the job, and then they end up working together because you know Nick Fury
Because the
said
Avengers assemble.
right. Well, I said Nick Fury said, "Say it, say
Mm-hmm. Say the line, Bart.
it." And when everything goes topside and nothing is affected the way we expected it to be affected, the Avengers win for the first time. We see everybody in full circle and hammer in hand, shield in hand, suit on, and all
Mm-hmm.
green and stuff.
360 panning view.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about? It was so
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like, I don't know how to. I don't remember the theme song.
Yeah.
But then we find out that we didn't watch this movie to find out about the Avengers. This is the Thanos introduction.
Right.
Welcome to
Guess I'll
Thanos.
have to do it myself.
Guess I'll have to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Easter egg. That was also our first Easter egg.
Mm-hmm. I do like the sort of the spin-off that it caused with the cleanup crew. So like they in later years they kind of tie that in with Spider-Man.
Man, that was so cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And they did like a pilot for this show that I thought was going to be really good. It was like The Office. I've said this before on the show, but it was like The Office, but it was for the cleanup crew of all of these superhero things. I thought that was going to be so good.
You're right.
Like a mockumentary about the people cleaning up all of the messes the superheroes make. That would have been great.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know I remember we were both waiting on that so much so, and then when it didn't come, I remember that year it was that and the Red versus Blue Halo show.
Oh, yeah, that was an internet thing for so long.
That was the internet thing. So
Yeah.
that was on the internet, and then we saw that, and that was supposed to actually come out. I don't even remember what channel that was supposed to be on, but because that was before apps was really going crazy too.
Probably UPN or something.
Something like that. You never know.
Channel 13.
Yeah, I could see that ending up on there.
Yeah.
Channel 13, 6:30 p.m. right before prime time, about an hour before prime time.
For UPN.
Yeah,
whatever that is. I think that's just reruns of Family Feud.
No, yeah, I don't think Channel 13 exists anymore, or excuse me, I
No.
don't think UPN exists anymore. Actually, I know UPN doesn't exist. I actually know who they got bought out by and all that, but that's a different discussion. So yeah, from there, man. I mean, shoot, we didn't got all 5 of the movies out the way, went through the bits of them. Everybody knows what they are. So I mean, let's get into what our favorites are. Let's rank them and say what else we think was stupid about them.
Yeah. Well, I guess if I'm giving my favorite, I guess it's not really fair to do the Avengers because it's like I think that's the obvious best movie out of all of these. And then I would say Iron Man 1 is the second best. And then the rest I don't think are good.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Iron Man 1 is decent. I like Iron Man 1. I could rewatch that pretty easily.
So your 1 is Avengers, your 2 is Iron Man 1. You still got to rank the other 3, man.
Okay, so all right, gotcha. Number 1 is Avengers, number 2 is Iron Man 1, and then I guess I would go with Captain America, and then I would go with Thor, and then Incredible Hulk. Incredible Hulk's definitely on the bottom, and then Iron Man 2 is probably under Captain America.
Right.
Yeah,
it's funny because your last 2 and your first one are the same as mine. So my favorite of all of these, which I don't say it's the best movie, but I do think it's the most rewatchable, is Iron Man 2.
Okay.
It's something about that movie. You watch it and you know it's not a good movie, but it's also a really easy TV playable movie. A lot of movies, as long as Iron Man 2, don't play well, like on TV. You could watch that on TBS and you're gonna be into it still. Because you could get a lot of the hot points and still they cut so much of the fat out, right? But the number one movie in this number Iron Man 2 is my favorite of this six. We've been saying five, I'm sorry, of this six. Um The Avengers is the number one movie of all of these movies.
Yeah.
I think Iron Man 2 is number two because of the watchability. Iron Man 1 is three. Because I don't think it's as watchable as Iron Man 2, but it is a better movie than Iron Man 2. Uh Captain America has to be next because Thor and the Incredible Hulk don't deserve to be listed at
No.
all.
No,
And
definitely not.
the Incredible Hulk has to be last. Thor has to come before that simply because I at least liked Loki. But yeah, no, phase one, I mean, I can say this now before we have our future shows with anything else. Phase one was garbage. Like, especially when you compare it to everything we got after, trash.
Better than Phase 4.
Better
in my
than
opinion.
phase four and still trash.
It's still
Phase
trash.
four,
Yeah.
phase four is trash in the sense of, all right, you don't even know what to do anymore. You've run out of ideas.
Hmm.
Phase one is trash in the sense of you were trying to figure it out and you gave us bare minimum in some of these areas.
There were a lot of swings and misses.
Oh
for
my
sure.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this ain't baseball. So having a low ERA is not necessarily a good thing. You won't have a bad looking ERA and still be doing better than everybody else. No. Hit the ball.
Right.
Hit the damn ball.
Hit the ball. Yeah. All right. Well, then what else is there to say, man?
Let's see. We've done. So yeah, your favorite again was Iron Man 1. You said, right?
Yeah. If I'm not going to choose Avengers, because Avengers I think is the best movie.
I mean, it's fair for you to say that that's your favorite of the phase one. It's only 6 movies to choose.
It's okay. I guess it would be my favorite of the six. Then yeah.
And I understand. I do. Like, honestly. I think a lot of people would expect Avengers 1 to be everybody's favorite from this. I think it's the best movie. That's not a question. I think it's the absolute best movie of these six. But I couldn't say it was the number or excuse me, my favorite. I don't remember there being enough adversity in Iron Man. I mean, excuse me, in Avengers 1.
It's because they fight each other for a while.
Yeah, but it was so soft core.
Oh yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of stakes until the end.
Right. It was like that. It was an introduction movie. Like, oh, I don't like you because I don't know you. Like, that's just life. Get over yourself.
I mean, the moment between Thor and Iron Man fighting, and then Captain America getting in the middle of them, creating that sonic blast with the shield, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. I agree with that. Well, also, no, that's later. I think that's Avengers 2 when we find out that Black Widow falls in love with the Hulk. Not with Bruce, but with the Hulk.
Too. Right. Oh yeah, and then we get the scene where he turns into the Hulk on that sky carrier thing. That's a good scene.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
I like the Hulk is in like almost all of the Avengers movies. They just ditch him for a while because they're like, we don't want to deal with you. Go. Because in Avengers 1, they drop him from the carrier in that glass box. Yeah, he doesn't show up till the end.
Just dropped him in the middle of the desert, like bro. And I think that's the whole, like we were saying earlier about not getting Planet Hulk and all of that. It's like Hulk's an afterthought to so much of these storylines that it's kind of sickening.
Yeah.
It's like you have a lot. You have like a really good character you're throwing away here.
Well, and then he became Professor Hulk, which I think was a terrible idea.
I mean, that's a real thing, but Gray Hulk
it's a real thing. Yeah.
But then make Gray Hulk.
Right. Yeah. Fair.
There's multiple Hulks for a reason. They're all the same guy, but he evolves. I think that's the thing. The Hulk hasn't been able to do well in cinema because they won't allow him to evolve. He has to remain this brute for entertainment value.
No, but I mean, like, yes, he was the brute at the beginning, but now he's like, because if you haven't seen She-Hulk, he's like the Hulk uncle, or he's just like a nice guy that just has bigger muscles than usual and is green, but he's like got no more ferocity to him anymore.
Oh yeah, because he did the experiment on himself and was able to isolate something. I don't remember
the anger molecules.
Yeah. I wanted to say something like that, but I was like, I don't think that's exactly how they said it.
Yeah.
With that being said, I mean, hey, we're all the way at a point where now we've been introduced to the first mutant, Kamala Khan. Um, so let's see where they go.
And we still don't have the X-Men.
It's the last, right? I'm like, that's the last movie I think we reviewed. The Multiverse of Madness, and
that's America Chavez.
that's America Chavez. That's not Kamala Khan.
Mm-hmm.
I know Kamala
Khan's Miss Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, right. I'm tripping. Okay, I see where I just confused that.
But you had it right. I mean, America Chavez is a mutant. So
yeah. But Kamala Khan, I think, is considered the first mutant in the main reality or something like that. I was reading on that.
Then what's Captain Marvel? Isn't she just a cosmic? Because don't they have the same powers?
Yes. But I think Miss Marvel or Kamala Khan is supposed, I don't know the how or why, but I think she's supposed to like naturally have imbued the power of the
She's got the cosmic force.
Yeah, she was born with it.
Right. Okay. So she's
She
just
was born with
it. Molded by the Phoenix Force. Man, they still haven't done that well either. Jeez Louise. They just can't get the Phoenix Force right.
No, because then they would have to they'd have to admit that the Phoenix is an anti-hero. They always have to end the movie with the Phoenix being a hero. No, she's an anti-hero. Matter of fact, put Mystique back in the movies. How about
they tried?
Or my favorite thing that never gets done, and I don't think it ever will be done. Can Aurora not be a hero as well? Because she also is an anti-hero who chooses to work with Professor Xavier because of her respect for him, not because she gives a damn.
Well, they did that in Apocalypse, right?
Did they? Did I miss that?
Yeah, Aurora was a part of Apocalypse's crew. She got gifted the mantle of one of the horsemen. Yeah,
because she is a goddess.
Mm-hmm.
She is not a mutant. She was born with it. And where did she get it from?
Maybe she's born with it.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with her being an Egyptian goddess, of course she'd be one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that being said, we have gone down a few different tangent lines that actually are not near this. They need to give us some X-Men stuff so we can actually discuss that, or maybe we just gonna have to do an X-Men dive one day. But
agreed. Maybe we can do a pop culture crisis about the best X-Men movie.
Oh,
that would be a good one. Because there are a few to pick from. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if we're being totally honest, they deserve it because clearly the studios don't care.
True. Yeah. Nobody's doing anything about the X-Men. Jeez.
They all see the problem and nobody's doing anything about it. But yeah, so with that being said, I think let's give our fives again just because make sure it's all out there. My number one was The Avengers as the best movie. Iron Man 2 is the most watchable, but The Avengers as the best movie, number one. Iron Man 2 is my second movie. Iron Man 3 is my third movie. Iron Man 1 is my third movie. Captain America and then Thor and Incredible Hulk tied for 5 and 6 because they're both absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I'm at Avengers, Iron Man 1, then I'm at Captain America, then Iron Man 2, then Thor, then Hulk.
Yeah. Absolutely. Totally understandable. And I can't say I haven't even watched both of those movies more than once because I have. Still bad movies.
Not great.
But with that being said, we really appreciate you guys for hanging out with us here on the Pop Culture Onslaught. The Screen Time Continuum page is here for you guys on Sundays and Wednesdays to give you reviews, follow-ups, dives, onslaughts, anything that you could think of. We're just here to give you more and more content, more information, and more entertainment towards the same things that maybe you and your friends are sitting around wondering, thinking about, talking about. Hey, what's your favorite? In fact, drop that in the comment section. If you and your friends have this list already, listen to us a little bit. Tell us, what are your top 6? How do they rank and why? I think you could do that in about 160 characters. We've all gotten used to putting our full thoughts in 160 characters or less, right? for the Screen Time Continuum. My name is Keelan. By the way, before Nick tells you guys that he's also leaving, because I was way too early with that, when you guys get some time, go ahead and check out these other shows we have listed for you. If you go ahead and look at your screen, for those of you who are watching our videos, you'll see that we have If Numbers Could Talk on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Sundays for the Screen Time Continuum, Strawberries and Coffee _of_ Ilion on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Check them out on Twitch, as well as the Exofathom on Fridays. Also, you can check out This Merry Moment on Saturdays. Now, aside from Strawberries and Coffee and King of Ilion, which are on Twitch, everything else is available for you on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and or Rumble. With that, my name is Keelan.
And I'm Nick.
Thank you guys for hanging out here at the Screen Time Continuum. See you Wednesday.